Don in London, hello. January 3rd, 2009. My videos all about recovery from addiction, either to substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, most of those years, workaholic as well as drinkaholic, and relationshipaholic, I guess, or all the isms you can think of associated with addicted to substance or behaviour. And being January, the start of a new year, a bit of the basics about AA, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, the fellowship which keeps me sober a day at a time. And it doesn't keep some other people sober a day at a time. They have found other ways. And of course there are other ways to be sober and to make life work. It's a question of personal choice in the end. You know, what we find is useful to us may be completely useless to another person. So I'm neither for or against other people and how they get their recovery or make recovery happen for themselves. I'm just here sharing a message of what works for me. And the more people who join in and share their experience, strength and hope of recovery, either inside or outside of the fellowship like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, the better it can be, because we all need a way out of addiction if we have it. And for me, the AA preamble sums up what it does. It's like, this is what it says the ingredients are. What you've got is what you get is what you see, or what you see is what you get. And on this little card here, it gives an outline of what to expect at an AA meeting. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics or organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And much of what people might find if they ring up the AA helpline, that number is in most telephone directories or can be got from local professional medical help. AA provides a safe place to find out who we are, what we stand for, and what we can do on a daily basis to keep sober and make life work and get our choices back. So when I first commented yesterday about powerless over alcohol, ? Somebody saying, well, quite rightly, that they feel that they were duped for 8 years. I guess they must have been sober those 8 years and then come to the conclusion they were doing it on their own, and they were quite happy for it to be that way. Well, that's good, and all power to their elbow for being able to do that. However, and it's not to actually undermine anybody else's point of view, I'll just share what it says in this book, which is the Daily Reflections, which gives a one-page reading, if you like, to sort of enthuse us to get on with the day as best we can. And it's entitled Powerlessness. As in the first step of the 12 steps of action, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable, and that comes from the 12 Step and 12 Traditions, which is another publication. And it goes on to say, it is no coincidence that the very first step mentions powerlessness. An admission of personal powerlessness over alcohol is a cornerstone of the foundation of recovery. I've learned that I do not have the power and control I once thought I had. I am powerless over what people think about me. I am powerless over having just missed the bus. I am powerless over how other people work or don't work, the 12 steps of AA. But I've also learned I am not powerless over some things. I am not powerless over my attitudes. I am not powerless over my negativity. I am not powerless over assuming responsibility for my own recovery. I have the power to exert a positive influence on myself, my loved ones, and the world in which I live. And for me, really, what it's saying is, yes, we are powerless over alcohol, and when we drink, life is unmanageable. That's the first admission, really, and coming to a place of acceptance is really a daily occurrence. Because addiction is a daily problem. Once we're an addict, we don't actually magically stop being one. At least I haven't found it so. And whilst the person who was unhelpful, not unhelpful, was sharing their experience, strength and hope, they'd been in AA for 8 years, and they discovered that they were in control of their own recovery. And that's really what this says. You know, it's the third reading, January, Powerlessness. And just to go over that, that paragraph, I'm not powerless over my attitudes. I'm not powerless over negativity. I'm not powerless over assuming responsibility for my own recovery. I have the power to exert a positive influence on myself, my loved ones, and the world in which I live. And I think that's, it's vital that people actually take responsibility for their own recovery. Because if you sit in AA wanting recovery, or think by some stage, I suppose by presence alone, some sort of osmosis goes on where you assume sobriety. The absolute truth is we think about it, we feel about it, we wonder about it, and then we start trying some of the steps of progression, if you like, the 12 steps of AA. It's just simply an action program on a daily basis to keep us sober. And then we can make the rest of our lives work. We get our choices back. So fundamental it is. And often we can be bamboozled by other people's outlook and other people's understanding of their higher power, or power greater than us. I've found that good conscience works well. It's a good conscience is taking account of not only my needs, but the needs of the people around me as well. So I take account of family, community, society, and how I fit in. Whereas with alcoholism, I was excluded, isolated, completely self-obsessed, and wondered what was going to happen next. So, the challenge is what sense of, I suppose success, I guess, do I get? I successfully complete each day sober, and if I have a lapse, I can always go back and start again. And that's the gift. The gift of the fellowship is keep on coming back, is often said. And there are new and many people who are just trying AA for the first time, and it's difficult because we've spent probably the last of our drinking days completely self-obsessed, maybe drinking 24/7, or binging to a place of out of control. And then to suggest that there is a framework of living, 12 steps, which keep us sober, is a bit of it's a tall order actually, to actually wonder whether we can do it or not. And the simple answer is we don't have to do it all at once. We just learn how to be sober as time goes by. And the fellowship helps me. And in this book, As Bill Sees It, which I've been working through linearly over the last year or so, I'm near the end of it now. Page 319, it says 2 authorities. Many people wonder how AA can function under seeming anarchy. Other societies have to have law and force and sanction and punishment administered by authorised people. Happily for us, we found that we need no human authority whatever. We have 2 authorities which are far more effective. One is benign, the other malign. There is a God, our Father, who very simply says, I am waiting for you to do my will. The other authority is named John Barleycorn, and he says, you had better do God's will or I will kill you. The AA traditions are neither rules, regulations nor laws. We obey them willingly because we ought to, and because we want to. Perhaps the secret of their power lies in the fact that these life-giving communications spring out of living experience and are rooted in love. And the gift really, it doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. And anybody seeing my videos over the last, 2 years or so, knows that I don't understand God as other people may understand God. I have a God of my understanding, and it fits in with what Gandhi said. He suggested that God is truth and love. And where did that come from? Well, thousands and thousands of years of experience of mankind moving around on the planet and saying, yes, we need good conscience and a connection to a higher power. And that's the higher power, or the good conscience of living. So whether we call it good conscience or God is not the issue for me. It's how may AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, with a set of 12 steps action program for me, make my life work better. And it has immeasurably made life possible. And from possible to a pragmatic outlook. It's not all rosy in recovery. We get to live longer, so we are susceptible to every other human condition that is available to get. And that can be love, hate, and all the emotions around that. And physical attributes. We don't necessarily become perfect again. We actually get to live longer and get over diseases, as I have. And I don't blame any higher power for it. I just blame nature and providence. And the point is this: we live longer and get to see and experience life and be a part of all over again. What about that then? I better finish.